forget how horses don't doubt.
Hi, my name is Robert Deets. I was just interviewed by Keith Andrew, and I had such a great time. He's such a excellent speaker. He had terrific questions. He's very motivated, and I would absolutely tell anybody to do this because he's a wonderful guy, and I had such a great time being on his show.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching the KeithAndrewNetWork, and this is a holiday edition. This is 765. That's right, 765. I'm here with Robert Deeds. It's a real honor and privilege having you as a guest. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
No, the honor is all mine. For people who want to know what my talk show is about, whole point of my talk show is to show people that even with having a learning disability, I can still amount to something. And at the same time, I'm able to turn myself into an example for people out there dealing with any types of learning disabilities and disabilities to never give up and prove people wrong. Prove them, but labels do not dictate who you are and who you're going to be. To prove them, you can still amount to something. So hashtag break the labels. So that being said, for people who want to know who you are an upcoming professional actor, voiceover actor, and upcoming singer. So the first question I want to ask you is what I ask everyone. Tell our audience a little bit about your background and how you came to do what you do now.
Well, it's funny. I'm originally from a little town in Cochranton, Pennsylvania, just a tiny town, and currently I live in El Paso, Texas, and I always wanted to do, acting when I was a kid, but there's nothing ever available in the area where I live. So now I live down here in El Paso, Texas, and a friend of mine's an actor, and he told me this one day a couple of years ago. He said, you'd be really good at this. And I was like, really? So he showed me the ropes a little bit, and then I've been doing it all myself since then. And I've got quite a few jobs, and currently I have a couple things in the works, but with the COVID going on, everything's put on hold, for safety measures, and I'm fine with that, So I've just been busy working here, and I started singing when I was, 6 years old. My dad plays the trumpet and sings, and I started doing that too when I was just a little kid. So I do that better than anything else. But that's about it, man.
No, absolutely. Now, who influenced you to become a professional actor, and how many years have you been acting?
April will be 3 years. And probably all my childhood heroes, people I wanted to be like when I was a kid, originally made me want to do this, but I went so many decades without having the chance, and kind of went a different way, bouncing job to job. And so I'd have to say my buddy Jack, who got me started here in El Paso doing this. He's a big influence.
No, absolutely. It's always good to have someone in your corner and point you in, excuse me. It's always better to have someone in your corner and point you in the right direction.
Sure.
Now, the next question I was going to ask you is, you mentioned you do voiceovers. What cartoons influenced you to become a voiceover actor?
That's a tough one. There weren't really many. There was some cool cartoons back in the 80s, when I was growing up in the 90s, but I've always done voices, just goofing around, in grade school and high school, just being funny. But I guess oh my gosh, her name's Princess Lump, I think. She's on The Adventures of Jake and Finn. I don't know if you've ever watched that cartoon, but she's just this purple cloud princess, and she's got this princess crown on, and she floats around. And I used to do those voices for my kids, and when they were younger. And this one we made up called a Yucky Duck. Um, yeah, Robin Williams was a big influence on me, though. I loved all the voices, the characters he played, and his films. I mean, and that broke my heart, when he passed. That was, man, that was too bad. That was way before his time.
No, absolutely. He was one of the best actors ever.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was a real shame. There's a lot of great actors too. Michael J. Fox, and even the ones where just upcoming. Dave Bautista is a really good actor. Also, Stone Cold Steve Austin's a good actor. Triple H is a pretty good actor. Robert Downey Jr. It doesn't matter what he does.
Yeah.
I always like watching his work.
Oh yeah, I like his older stuff and his new stuff. I mean, who doesn't like Iron Man? Gosh, that's awesome.
No, absolutely. Now, the next one I want to ask you is based on the show. Have you ever worked with people with learning disabilities? And are you willing to work with people with disabilities?
I am absolutely for working with people that have disabilities. I'm trying to think if I have worked with anybody that has a disability, and I honestly can't remember. I've done so much stuff over the last couple of years that to just try and to pick anything, if I'm just running through everything in my head, and I can't say that I've worked with anybody yet that's had a disability, but I absolutely have no problem working with somebody that has a disability,
No, absolutely. And like I said, labels do not dictate who you are and who you're going to be. Just because someone labels you, it gives you that extra motivation of saying, I'm going to prove you wrong, and I can amount to anything.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
The next one I'm going to ask you is, what is coming up on the horizon for you, and where are you heading to next?
Oh, man. Well, because of COVID, this big TV show, not even TV show, it's on Netflix, was put on hold. And I already signed a non-disclosure, so I can't really say anything more about it, but I can say that everybody I know is a big fan of this show, and we're just dying to get it done, and do it. So I'm really looking forward to doing that. I do have a couple short films coming up here next month. I'm pretty excited about those. Hopefully, the mask mandate will, be lifted, and we'll be able to go on set without masks, because it's kind of hard to work around that, because you're always close to crew and the production team and stuff, and everybody just wants to be safe, and they try and do it the safest way. And right now, the safest way is, what do they say? Crowds less than 10 or something like that, and that's not how it works in the film industry. It's always a lot of people.
No, I agree. And, a lot of people like, to complain about wearing a mask and about indoor dining. The bottom line is people need to stop bitching and moaning and say, this is what we have to do for right now. It may be tough, it may be unfair, but as long as we get over this and we can look back on it. But the more you start moving and you stop, you move again and you stop, and you like to make up excuses and stall, the longer this virus is going to be here. And once, the vaccines come out, you got to have the people who are, I'm going to get vaccinated. I don't care what the risks are. You have those people like, yes, I will be vaccinated, but then you're going to have the other people who are going to be refusing to get it for
Mhm.
whatever bizarre reason. And it's kind of like you can't have a huge, what's that stupid word? Um, Whatever, a mail day in a group because not everyone's going to be vaccinated. So, yes, right now, and I can speak for experience, 2020 is a real shitty year because, as I told you, my dog passed away. So,
Yeah, sorry.
I'm still in the cloud for that one. I'm looking forward to being vaccinated. And once I'm vaccinated, yeah, I can probably go back to work, and my dad wants to go back to work. I'm not crazy about wearing a mask because my glass, as you know, you wear glasses, so as
Oh yeah.
your glasses fog up. So I'm probably gotta wait until you don't have to wear a mask anymore. But it's the vaccines are gonna come out. Hopefully by early spring, maybe late spring, and taking it one step at a time. And the biggest takeaway that we can take from this is hopefully people learn something. But unfortunately, it's the dumb leading the dumb and the blind leading the blind because people don't care and they just care about themselves. And that's pretty sad, to be honest.
It is. You got to lead by example, and so far we've had a pretty bad example. And the way I look at it, I wear a mask every day, all the time, everywhere. My job, since film and TV has slowed down, I'm a security guard, and I operate the doors and let people in and out. And gosh, it doesn't matter how many signs I put up. 6 feet. Doesn't matter how many times a day I tell them, they just do not care or they don't remember. And I'll say things like, "Look," I was like, "I'm not doing this for me." I was like, "I'm healthy. I'm safe. I stay safe, and you're the guys who are the ones who aren't taking this seriously." I was like, "So don't think I'm doing it for my health. I'm doing it for you guys, and you just don't really seem to care. But it is what it is, and you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink." And that's pretty much what it is, like getting people to wear masks.
It's true. But like I always say, you can't fix stupid, but you can numb it with a 2x4.
Very true.
Now, the other question I want to ask you is as you're being an actor and doing voiceover work, what is the biggest change you want to make in your acting career?
Oh gosh, I want to star in a major movie. I want to get out of the little leagues. I want to become a SAG actor. I want to do this for a living. And unfortunately, I was just getting started, and waiting is not a problem. I'll be 40 next year. I'm only in the middle of my life, so I got plenty of time to go. And and that's it. Just I've been taking classes and doing whatever I can to better myself right now, because that time is going to come, and when it comes, I want there to be like a red flag above my head, so they're like, that guy, what has he done? Oh, good, he's done all this. Let's use him. I'm just trying to better myself that way right now.
No, I agree. Now, a similar question I want to ask you is what is the biggest change you have made in your life? Has acting changed anything about you? Like, for an example, sleeping habits, eating habits, just your everyday routine. Has acting changed anything in your normal routine?
Not significantly yet. um I exercise. I don't do drugs. um I hope one day that I can get to the point where my body weight stays the same, or it'll be easier for me to know, what the script is calling for in the scenes. Sometimes I still have trouble with that, but I'll read it a couple of times, and then I do everything into a mirror so I can watch the faces that I make, or the expressions to see if that's what the script is calling for, and sometimes I hit it and sometimes I don't, but the the way you got to look at it is, and oh gosh, I can't remember this actor's name. His last name's Cranston. He was in gosh,
Bryan Cranston.
Bryan Cranston. I watched like a motivational speech or not ceremony, something he did to inspire, other these people. And he said it best was like, think of it as you have a gift and you're going to somebody's birthday party, maybe they'll like the gift you have, maybe they won't. If they won't, I mean, you just keep going to the next one. And that's something that you got to get good at, is not so much rejection, but don't look at it as you're being rejected. Look at it as, you may not have got this one role, but there are 10 other ones out there that you still have the chance to get, so you always keep looking up. You never stop, never back down, just keep going and going and going, and eventually you'll get your foot in the door somewhere, and that's all it takes is one time.
No, absolutely. Yeah. Now, do you ever want? I want to ask you is, let's see, I'm looking for a good question. What are what are you most likely to become famous for?
That's funny you say that. When I was in high school and I was a senior, in my yearbook, it said I would most likely become a talk show host.
Yeah.
But that never happened. I don't know, man. I'd like to say easy to work with, which would mean I'd get a lot more jobs, a lot of offers. I'm willing and ready and raring to go. And I'll do just about anything within reason.
You bring up a good point. How people, and look in the yearbooks, most famous to do best, most famous to do bad. First off, how did he even know that? Number one, and number two, it's mostly like guesswork. For me, I would like to have something to be like, oh, he likes to be walking around with the camera. He would most likely be an entertainer. I got absolutely nothing. So I find it like, do they pull you aside and say, then they ask you a question, or so like, oh, well, that's a surprise right there. No one asked me that question before.
Well, I graduated in a class of 69 kids, including myself. So we all pretty much knew each other, and being around each other for all those years, it's pretty easy to feel each other out, But I played the trumpet now for 30 years. I was in every band activity that was available, and I sang in chorus. I sang in my church. And I was just a goofy kid, man. I loved to have fun. I loved cars. I loved my trumpet. And so did the people that I hung out with. They loved their instruments, loved to play. And you meet a lot of people, being in jazz bands and pep bands, regional band, county band, all over the place, states. Meet a lot of terrific musicians.
No, absolutely. Now, the last question I want to ask you is, what is your claim to fame? You mentioned you are a professional actor, you enjoy doing voiceovers, and you are a singer. So with everything that you accomplish and will accomplish in the future, what is that number one motivational thing people will remember about you and say that was your claim to fame?
Well, I don't quit. Like I said, I'll try anything. I'll do anything within reason, or I'll try anything once, but me personally, to me, I already had my claim to fame when I was 7 years old. I made an unassisted triple play in a baseball game, all 3 outs by myself, and that has never happened before or since. in my hometown. That was pretty amazing. But at the moment, that's about all I could say. I still haven't made it to where I want to. I've been in a couple films with some high-profile actors, some TV shows with some high-profile actors. But a lot of that was background work, and that's kind of where you need to start to get a feel for how the big show works, And I eventually got out of background. I was tired of. I'm really appreciative of everything I learned, but I wanted to be that main guy. I want to be the guy with the lines and in the cars chasing the bad guys or whatever, what have you, whatever it calls for. But so that's what I started doing. That's what all these classes, all this hard work, everything that I've been doing now is trying to get me to that spot.
No, absolutely. Now, I do have a couple questions for you off the air. Of wrapping up, I want you to be brutally honest, as honest as you can. And you can say anything you want because it's uncensored. But remember, PG-13, but you have the right to say what you like. When I first approached you to be a guest on my talk show, what was your honest first reaction? What made you say yes? And after being a guest, how do you feel now, and would you recommend it to other people?
My first reaction was absolutely. I love doing this stuff, PR is terrific for everyone, for anyone and everyone. I would totally recommend this to anybody, man. I mean, you're a nice guy. You ask some great questions. You keep the flow going. I mean, it's pretty easy to go along. If you have a plan, then and I can follow your plan. I mean, it works. It works. And what was the third question?
Oh, what was your first reaction? What made you say yes? What do you recommend? How do you feel, and where do you recommend it?
What made me say yes was, as I love doing this stuff. I love being in front of the camera, even if it's just for a Zoom meeting or interview or whatever. What made me do it? It's something that I haven't done very much, especially lately because of COVID. So I mean, it's like sources are scarce, and if somebody sticks their hand out there and wants to shake it, then you gotta go with the flow.
No, absolutely. Now, I do have a couple questions for you off the air, but wrapping up your interview, it was a real honor, privilege having you as a guest, and I just want to say thank you for your time.
I'm Jenny Fine.
Hi, it's Mimi Chen.
Hi, my name is Ellen Dorsch.
Miss Shauna Todd.
Hey guys, I'm Anastasia Edwards.
Hi, this is Jackie Nunez.
Hi, I'm Millie Rose Fair.
Hey guys, I'm Alexandria Denise, and you're watching Keith Andrews Show. He's doing a terrific job. Make sure you like and subscribe, and stay tuned for more awesome.